Hi everyone, I am here with a Bible reading. I hope you guys are having a good day. Today we are going to be reading Acts chapter 15 verse 36, reading through chapter 16 verse 15, Psalm 142, and Proverbs chapter 17 verses 24 and 25. Okay. Let's get down here to Acts and see what we'll be talking about. My eyes are watering, sorry. Okay, we'll be talking about the disagreement between Paul and Barnabas. Yes, they're, together, but just because they have a disagreement doesn't mean they can't still be friends and brothers in Christ. Timothy joins Paul and Silas. You're like, wait, I thought Paul was with Barnabas. Is Paul now with Silas? Well, we got to keep reading on. Paul's vision of the man of Macedonia and Lydia's conversation in Philippi. And that's what we'll be talking about in Acts. So let's go ahead and get started. Let's try to look at that. Try to get it here where I need it to be. Okay, let's go ahead and get started here with disagreement between Paul and Barnabas. What could they be disagreeing about? Well, let's see. Just like you and your family or you and your best friend have a disagreement. Just like when people get into politics. You could be best friends, and me and my best friend were in school. She liked one person for president, I liked another. It was mainly because, our families liked a certain one, so of course we did. But we stayed best friends. A lot of people, they end friendships and relationships and everything because of stuff like that, because of a disagreement. It's really sad. There's stuff going on with my family right now that I'm getting drug into, and I just, it sounds like it's going to be a big mess now. But let's go ahead. Sometime later, Paul said to Barnabas, "Let's go back and visit the believers in the towns where we preach the word of the Lord and see how they are doing." Barnabas wanted to take John, also called Mark, with them, but Paul did not think it wise to take him, because he had deserted them in Pamphylia and had not continued with them in the work. That's what they were disagreeing about. Barnabas wanted to take Paul, Mark, and Paul did not want to take him because of him abandoning them. They had such a sharp disagreement that they parted company. That's how bad the disagreement was. They couldn't even stand to see each other. They're like, let's split up. So they went their own ways. So of course Barnabas took Mark, and sailed for Cyprus. But Paul chose Silas and left. Commended by the believers to the grace of the Lord, he went through Syria and Cilicia, strengthening the churches. Paul came to Derbe and then to Lystra, where a disciple named Timothy lived. Paul and Timothy loved each other very much, not in a way like that, but in a family way. Timothy was much younger than Paul. Paul was not married. He did not have children. He dedicated his life to God. And Timothy was a much younger disciple that came to the Lord. And Paul usually calls Timothy his son because he took him under his wing. Paul was much older than Timothy. So he came to Lystra, where a disciple named Timothy lived, whose mother was Jewish and a believer, but whose father was a Greek. The believers at Lystra and Iconium spoke well of him, of Timothy. Paul wanted to take him along on the journey, So he circumcised him because of the Jews who lived in that area, for they all knew that his father was a Greek. As they traveled from town to town, they delivered the decisions reached by the apostles and elders in Jerusalem for the people to obey. So the churches were strengthened in the faith and grew daily in numbers. Timothy would become a good disciple as well under Paul's guidance. Now, we're going to read about Paul's vision of the man of Macedonia. Paul and his companions traveled throughout the region of Perga and Galatia, having been kept by the Holy Spirit from preaching the word in the province of Asia. When they came to the border of Mysia, they tried to enter Bithynia, but the Spirit of Jesus would not allow them to. So they passed by Mysia and went down to Troas. During the night, Paul had a vision of a man of Macedonia standing and begging him, "Come over to Macedonia and help us." After Paul had seen the vision, he got ready at once to leave for Macedonia. Concluding that God had called us to preach the gospel to them. Okay? And I would agree as well. So let's see here. Let's finish up with Lydia's conversation in Philippi. From Troas, we put out to sea and sailed straight for Samothrace, and the next day we went on to Neapolis. From there we traveled to Philippi, a Roman colony, and the leading city of that district of Macedonia, and we stayed there several days. On the Sabbath, we went outside the city gate to the river where we expected to find a place of prayer. We sat down and began to speak to the women who had gathered there. One of those listening was a woman from the city of Thyatira named Lydia, thinking of the place. Lydia, a dealer in purple cloth, which purple cloth and scarlet cloth were very expensive. They were considered for royalty. They were so expensive. She was a worshiper of God. The Lord opened her heart to respond to Paul's message. When she and the members of her household were baptized, she invited us to her home. "If you consider me a believer in the Lord," she said, "come and stay at my house." And she persuaded us. So that's where we're stopping with the book of Acts. Do you think Lydia's going to really be good? Or is she taking them to her house to trick them? What do you think? Or is she really good now? Did she really accept the Lord, and invited them back to her house just like a sister? Like they were her family, just invited them back to eat and stay. Well, we'll have to find out probably tomorrow. Okay, so now we are going to read Psalm 142. It only has 7 verses. It is a maskil of David when he was in the cave, a prayer. This was probably either the time he was hiding from Saul when he was younger, because Saul thought he was going to take his place as king, or when one of David's sons was out to kill him. Yeah, he truly wanted to kill his father. All right, he wanted to be king. But he didn't end up being king anyway. After David died, he tried to be king. But his younger brother, the young Solomon, David already said would be king. And Solomon did end up being king. So, okay, let's read David's prayer in the cave. I cry aloud to the Lord. I lift up my voice to the Lord for mercy. I pour out before him my complaint. Before him I tell my trouble. When my spirit grows faint within me, it is you who watch over my way. In the path where I walk, people have hidden a snare for me. Look and see, there is no one at my right hand. No one is concerned for me. I have no refuge. No one cares for my life. I cry to you, Lord. I say, you are my refuge, my portion in the land of the living. Listen to my cry, for I am in desperate need. Rescue me from those who pursue me, for they are too strong for me. Set me free from my prison, that I may praise your name. Then the righteous will gather about me because of your goodness to me. And that was Psalm 142, a prayer of David when he was in the cave. Okay, and finishing up today is Proverbs chapter 17, verses 24 and 25. A discerning person keeps wisdom in view, but a fool's eyes wander to the ends of the earth. A discerning person keeps wisdom in view, but a fool's eyes wander to the ends of the earth. A foolish son brings grief to his father, and bitterness to the mother who bore him. Sad. I was looking for something to read to you guys. Trying to spend a little time because Sherm went to the pharmacy while I was reading to get some new medicine. The doctor called in yesterday. So let's see what we can do again here. Our prayer requests, they remain the same. Please pray for Layla and her son Emil. Please pray for Jimmy. I can't go into what's going on. Just please pray for Jimmy. It's like, sounds like it's going to be a family feud again with me right in the middle, because Mom already told me I'm getting the blame for all of it, which of course she believes, so. But that's how it usually is, and then everybody gets mad at me and won't talk to me, so. Because that's how my sister likes it to be. There was an accident today. Please pray for the families of these people and the people very close to here, on a highway close to here. There was 3 semis, one semi on each side of the road and one behind them. And this little black Jeep pulled out in front of them to turn into the cave, Cantor's Cave. It's like a little camp. They picked up their kid and took off because they caused a semi wreck, and they seen it. They knew that they caused it, and they hurried up and went into the camp and picked up their kid, signed their kid out, and took off. So the police are looking for them, looking for that vehicle, because they caused that accident. I guess it really smashed those semis up, and one of the truck drivers has already died. He died right there, and the other ones are hurt. I don't know how bad they're hurt, but please pray for all of them and their families, especially of the one who lost his life. It's so sad. There's always wrecks happening on that highway. And that person knows that they caused that wreck and flew in there and signed their kid out. My aunt works there, so she knew what was going on. Because the cop was in there, the highway patrol was in there asking, who was there to sign their kids out. So they got the names and everything, so all they got to do is find a vehicle, look at the vehicles of those people, that have their names there at the camp that signed their kids out today. Because my aunt works there every day. So she knew what was going on. That's awful. The road was shut down for the longest time. Yeah, that road's bad. That's horrible to do that. People's always pulling out in front of people. And you know those semis cannot just stop on a dime. It takes them a while to get stopped. I know this because my uncle drives semi. My dad used to drive semi. We've been in the semis, riding in the semis. We know how it is. My other uncle drives semi. A lot of my family are truck drivers. And like I said, I've been in the semi because my dad was a truck driver when we were kids. I remember being in the semis all the time. I remember one time, Dad was in the office, and he left us in a semi, and it was running, and he went in the office, and we were little. I don't remember how little. I mean, my sister, my youngest sister, she kept wanting to get up there, you know, and play with the steering wheel and stuff, and I kept having to try to keep her away from it, and I was like freaking out. Like, I kept thinking, Dad, please hurry up and get out here. I thought the semi was going to, you know, like take off. So I had to keep her from getting up there, you know. She was just little and wanted to get up there and play with the steering wheel and everything, and I had to keep her back. Okay, Shern's back now, so I hope you guys have a great rest of your day. Let's bring those souls to Jesus, and God willing, we'll see you guys again tomorrow with another Bible reading. Bye, guys. God bless.